Welcome to My Hometown, the program that explores clubs, organizations, businesses, and issues across Nassau and Suffolk counties and sheds light on the different towns that are making a difference.
Hello and welcome to My Hometown. I'm Bill Horan, along with my co-host, Nassau Community College student Matt Leonard, coming to you live via Zoom and being socially distant as recommended.
Bill, today we're going to learn about Shift Group, an education business focused on entrepreneurship and business support that offers business owners on Long Island trainings on how to shift their business during and for after the pandemic.
Shifting is something we all have to learn to do now, so let's dig in with our guest, Stefan Doering, founder and CEO of Shift Group, and Thomas Moebus, advisor to Shift Group. Gentlemen, welcome to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC.
It's great to be here.
Gentlemen, Can you tell us, how have both of you been making it through this COVID-19 pandemic?
Very carefully.
Very good answer. Thomas, how about you?
Yeah, fully masked, except when we're sitting in the comfort of our rooms, our basements, or wherever, which is how we do what we do. Yeah, we're fully on Zoom all the time. So, I'm sort of not that young. I was retired before we started doing this, and then I realized, hey, we have something I think we can do that's going to help people who are struggling with their businesses. Once COVID came and everyone realized how serious it was, and the businesses all had to basically close down for a while. We realized, okay, well, this is going to be tough, and that's when we developed this program.
We don't complain about not that young. We say you have wisdom. And that's the terms we like to use now. So let's both of us go with that, and I'm happy, and I'm sure you are.
No, in fact, I'm in a men's group that it's a group of wise men, as you
wise men. I like that.
Follow your term, and we're picking up on the term elder, which in many societies on the earth has been a revered term to be an elder, and I think in a way it's time to recapture that and to realize that. People in our generation do have some smarts that we can still use to benefit society.
Somehow we made it this long, so we're doing something right.
Absolutely right. Absolutely.
Let's go to Matt. Let's see what he has to say.
Well, Stefan, my first question is for you. Can you tell us more about Shift Group and how you guys got started?
Yeah, we got started a few years ago, and we offer an online education we're an online ed tech company that teaches entrepreneurship online. And we integrated sustainability, people, planet, and profit into what we do. And we started with universities and students at universities. The intention is that, hey, man, we got them as a captive audience. Let's see what they like and don't like about what we have to offer. And then the pandemic hit. And we were like, oh, wow, we need to shift. And so we shifted into the pandemic shift, and Tom has been the elder, as he says, and I agree. He's the elder person, the expert, and so he kind of got on. He definitely got on board and helped us shift and pivot.
Stefan and Tom, it's amazing the guests we're having on our show week after week. The great new things that have come out, some very simple, curbside pickup, saving people getting out of their car if they have children or they're elderly or might be a physical impediment. But some of the new things that have come out, and it sounds like your business is kind of highlighting that what we've gotten from this pandemic by maybe just putting the foot down on the pedal a little further and saying, can we do this? Can we do that? Let's try it. Now we almost have to. And I'm sure we're going to find out the ideas from you. So let me go over to Tom and ask him, you're an advisor. Now that sounds like a great title. That's what I always wanted to get paid for, being an advisor. Do this, do that. But without kidding around, what do you do as an advisor?
Well, I've been working with Stefan as an advisor to his company for about 5 or 6 years. When I retired from, I worked most of my life in universities, and in my role in universities, I worked with business. So I, had a lot of connections with starting businesses and also with larger businesses. And Stefan and I worked together in the last role I had, which was with a branch of SUNY in New York City. And after I left, I was curious and not just curious, but interested in what Stefan was doing, taking this entrepreneurship training, which we were involved in together but he was taking it a new direction, doing it online and doing it with this sustainability angle to it. And so I got involved trying to help him, get access to universities and figuring out how to develop his company. And then, as this pandemic shift opportunity opened up, we were brought in as advisors to Stony Brook University because they were asked by the county to provide something for the small business community. And, they're knowledgeable faculty, but they don't often work with small businesses. So they sought our advice because between Stefan and me and another partner of ours, John Reeves, we have lots of experience, thousands of small businesses we've worked with. So they said, why don't you join this task force we formed? And so that's the beginning of the conversation that we started to have that led to creating this program.
I think that's great. And first of all, to have a great client like Stony Brook right here on Long Island, terrific starting point. But then a small business starting out where something that you might know by rote, just like brushing your teeth or combing your hair or putting clothes on, that might be an everyday activity to you, to someone just starting a small business, you're opening up an entire world, saving them the learning curve, the experience, and probably a ton of money. So this sounds great to me. I want to hear more about this. So, but in fairness, I've got to go back to Matt and let him ask a few questions.
Oh, come on. But your questions have been great so far.
All right. Thank you. That's what I like to hear.
Well, you guys obviously work with small businesses, and COVID has impacted a lot of those over this whole pandemic. Can you tell us how it's changed the small business landscape?
Sure. There are a lot of businesses that are struggling, as we all know. And we decided, well, the fastest, easiest way is to get them to shift what they're doing in their business. And we broke shifting into three major components. Like you can do a small shift, like, hey, we're kind of sort of already doing this already, but these customers are still viable for us, so let's do more of that. That's a minor shift. A medium shift would be, well, you know what? We're going to put some resources and some focus on this aspect of our business. So we've all been to coffee shops, for example, and those customers, instead of walking in and sitting down at a table, they have to go outside and sit outside. So the coffee shop has to set up the infrastructure for that. And then, so that's a medium shift, like they really have to put something into it. And then the major shift is almost like a pivot. And if you can picture a basketball player, where they got to totally move, so they keep one foot on the ground, which is their business model in this case, and then they change completely different directions to go. And so that could be changing a new business. It might be, for example, there's a guy out in the East End that he did data cleaning. And he was like, you know what, we're going to shift completely and do COVID cleaning of data centers. So they went in and they were a data security company, and they shifted to a COVID cleaning company at data centers. So the pivot was the data centers, but then they moved directions and they started cleaning them instead of doing security for them, if that kind of sort of makes sense. So the companies that are really committed and focused on surviving are the ones that are like, okay, and they're open to new ideas and new ways of doing things. They're the ones that are most likely going to survive the pandemic.
Yeah, so I think, Matt, your question was also about what are the people suffering with when we see them. And we were seeing people in May is when we started our first pilot. And, restaurants at that time were closed, So it was at the extreme, people were essentially out of business. They were sitting on their couch. And then gradually they started getting back into it. Restaurants where people could see, okay, that was kind of the worst case scenario. And even now with people who have been, okay, you come back, you do up the outside thing. And even the most creative chefs and so forth, they're still they've lost 60% of their revenue, and a lot of businesses have closed. So, it's a tough world out there. Retail, same thing. How many people can you have in a shop? It's not that many. So, unless you can really figure out super creative ways. And some people that we worked with have actually increased their revenue, but that's an unusual situation. Most people have suffered a big loss of revenue. And when you just go around and ask how much revenue you lost, it's kind of half. So it's a very tough economy, and even other people who have a kind of a service business, they can easily do the business from their home. They don't have to have a shop and all. It's just their clients are suffering. So the clients don't have as much money. So, we're talking to one person who knows a lot of people whose business is essentially, white collar service, whether it's, financial service or marketing or writing or this kind of thing. And she says, everyone is out there sort of pretending that business is okay, but it's not okay. The reality is that everyone is hurting, from 1/3 to a half of their regular income. And, and that's just how it is. Everyone's looking for a new gig, a new way to figure it out. And the other thing is that the mental and emotional strain of all of this is everyone is like they're in debt, and when they think about it, they're stuck. And this is the one thing, the word stuck came to us. What's the issue that people are stuck? They keep on thinking the same thing, and their creativity is sort of gone out the door because they just keep on seeing the same bills coming in and the same rent is due. And they just, they're just waiting for the vaccination and so forth. So this is what we're trying to help them overcome.
You are listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Matt Leonard along with my co-host Bill Horan, and today we're learning about Shifts Group, an education business focused on entrepreneurship and business support that offers businesses and business owners on Long Island training on how to shift their business during and for after the pandemic, with our guests Stefan Doering, the founder and CEO of Shifts Group, and Thomas Moebus, advisor of Shift Group.
Thomas and Stefan, I'll just say an experience I had just this week. A day or two ago, my dog needed some emergency veterinary care, and I pulled up to local emergency vet place, as it's called. And I thought they were very creative. I pulled up. Now, just as they have in the past, they come out, they take the dog, you call ahead, make an appointment, give them your credit card information. Then they actually examine your dog right in the window of the store. And I was parked right in front. It's a spacious area. I could watch them. They told us by phone, this is what we're seeing. This is what we have to do. A very minor little work on the dog. Took her in the back, did something for about 8 minutes, came back, waved to us, came out, handed us the dog. Is this the kind of ideas that you come up with? And I've heard this, relatively similar situations from lawyers and other people who are trying to work within the boundaries of the pandemic. Is this the type of advice you're giving, or has someone come up with a really great idea that you're spreading out to the rest of us?
Well, we haven't had a vet, so we haven't come up with that sounds like something I would call bark and park and bark. But
I like that.
But we haven't come up with that one because we haven't had a vet. But let me just say one thing about sort of a bit of the secret sauce of what we do. So let's say we have 12 to 15 people in one of our workshops, which is a fairly common number. We break them into 3 groups. And one of the things that we found is key, and this is something we learned when we did workshops back in New York City in 2008 after the financial crisis, is that, as I said, people are stuck. And what gets them unstuck, we put them in a small group with other business owners, and we're in the group. One of us is in a group with them. The 3 of us, so 3 groups. And they work as a team. And they'll each get like 5 minutes. So you talk for a minute or so about your issue or an idea you have. And then there's some brainstorming from other people. And that's where people start to get unstuck. 2 things happen. One is other people give ideas about your issue, your idea. And, the ahas begin to come in. Hey, I didn't think about that. That's sort of cool. And we warn people, say, it's not the time to disagree. Just accept all the ideas that come in. And then people get their own creative juices going, thinking about other people's ideas. And they start feeling good if they're contributing to, hey, that was a good idea I had about Joe's idea. And you know what? Maybe not in the first session, but by the third, we do 4 sessions. By the third session, you begin to see some great ideas begin to happen. And, so we have seen some really wonderful ideas begin to emerge that people can use to grow their business. Whether it's a delivery system like you just described. Okay, this is how we're going to now deliver our diagnostic in using the outdoor window. Boom. I didn't think of that before, or it's some other way where a person can find new business, because a lot of people are stuck on how do I get new customers, and someone will come up with something and say, hey, the person selling swimsuits and they can't get enough people in the store. Hey, did you know there's all kinds of people are buying pools, people having pools installed, out in the Hamptons and so forth. Why don't you get a list of all these people building pools and you can go out and have a runway show? Oh, well, that's a great idea. Well, you know what? It is a great idea.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, because it always seems we can think of a great idea for another business. And as the customer, I mean, who's more valuable? If I come up with an idea and say to you, I wish you had a front door because I can never get in the back door or something, or I wish you were open after 6 o'clock. That might be the key to your business.
And it's that idea that, it's like, and then when you see a couple of people nodding, while you're listening to the idea.
Did you see me nodding? Because I was while you're talking.
Yeah. It's like, that's what it is. And then the person goes home and thinks about it and say, you know what, I think I can really make that work. And then, we give them simple tools to, how do you perfect this? How do you socialize it with some of your customers quick? The whole thing is to not just ponder it and make a big long plan and blah, 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 but, boom. You got to get into action. You got to make this happen within a couple of weeks, because
Thomas, one of our listeners, if they're hearing you talk right now and say, "Oh, I got to tell my husband, my brother, my cousin about this," how do they get in touch? Do they call up Stony Brook and say, "Let me speak to Tom"? Or is it the shift group within Stony Brook? Or do you have special classes just like a professor would?
We have a separate landing page just for that. So it's called, I'll say it, and then if you want, I can spell it. It's shiftgroup.com/pandemic-shift. That's it. They can sign up there for our next workshops.
So let me repeat that, if I may, Stefan. Shiftgroup.com dash pandemic, or
no,
please say it again.
Shiftgroup.com/pandemic-shift.
We will ask you again before the end of the show to give that to our audience, because if they're looking for you, I'm sure someone hearing this says, this is what I've been looking for. I didn't know there was such a group out there. So this is great. You'll be able to help them, et cetera, et cetera. Matt?
And it's free. Important thing to know, because our program is supported by Bank of America. I mean, we're partners with Stony Brook University, but Bank of America came in as a community partner. So they're paying for it so that businesses on Long Island don't have to pay for this program. So it's a great thing. Yay for Bank of America.
Tom, you talked about being a wise man with wisdom before at the beginning of the show. In the old days of our existence, Groucho Marx used to have a bird come down when you said the magic word. And you just said the magic word for our show, free.
Free.
That makes it even better. We love those things. So free ice cream, free business advice, anything that's free, we're there for. Matt, you heard the word free. Come on, more questions.
Well, I'll give you another question free of charge. So
okay.
What do you guys hope business owners take away from your workshops? And can you tell us maybe how long they are, what exactly happens during these sessions?
There are 4 sessions, once a week, and they're 90 minutes each week. So in 90 minutes, we give them basic principles that they can use for their own business right away. Then, like Tom said, we put them into what we call breakout sessions, where in groups of 4 or 5 businesses plus one of us leaders, they figure out, oh, this is how I apply it to my business. And they go through all 4 sessions like that. And each time we increase and we add new components for them to reimagine how they want to take their business. Is that
And let me add one thing to that. When we give them these tools that help them week by week, we make it like a journey. Get a destination. We give you a shift gearbox that helps you figure out how you shift your business. We give you a sort of a shift cycle that you can accelerate through, and then at the end we give people a simple timeline over from now 3 months, 1 year, 3 years, so they can really build their dream business. But at the end, we give them something important, which is, hey, you've been in here and people have been helping you and you've been helping them. And that's really key. And I think for this time in our country, as we kind of recover from this really difficult issue, this pandemic, people helping people, businesses helping businesses is how we regrow our economy, our community. And that's a great message to have. I think when people begin to collaborate and work with each other, that's how we get Main Street going strong again. And I think that's a very good message for Long Island to have, and something I really want to, share with the community. It makes it work. If we support our local business community and they work with each other, boom, we get it back.
As you said, Tom, you see me nodding, so you know I'm certainly in agreement.
You are listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Matt Leonard, along with my co-host, Bill Horan. And today we are learning about Shift Group, an education business focused on entrepreneurship and business support that offers business owners on Long Island trainings on how to shift their business during and for after the pandemic. With our guests, Stefan Doering, founder and CEO of Shift Group, and Thomas Moebus, advisor of Shift Group.
Tom and Stefan, neither one of you can answer or join in on this. If I was to call you today, let's say the first of any month, and say I want to be part of this, is like a doctor. Sometimes they say to you, oh, you can come in 9 months or tomorrow. Is there a long wait? And then I'm going to ask you if you could share with us one or two of the success stories that you've worked with people on Long Island.
The answer sometimes is tomorrow, and sometimes it's within a month. We essentially have a workshop a month right now, and we do some of them as open enrollment, and some of them we're working with organizations. So we've done one with women's businesses. We've done some through chambers of commerce, and we're looking to do some with minority business owners later in the spring. So it's a mixture of how we do them, but there's generally every month you'll see pandemic shift workshops on our website that we.
And if somehow someone forgot what you said before, the magic word is free, correct?
Absolutely.
So this is one of those deals you have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain, literally.
Amen to that.
Now, Tom and Stefan, can you tell us, there must be a favorite success story or someone who you've worked with, and probably many, many people, that either something about their business changed or now they've gone from a little coffee shop to Starbucks or true growth, even though these have been rough times. Can you tell us about one or two of your success stories?
I can do one or two quick ones, and then Tom can go into one that he worked with. One woman who has got a swimsuit company, her business doubled after taking our pandemic shift workshop. And another one, the secret sauce that Tom was talking about earlier, there was a landscape company in one of ours in Port Jefferson area. And he was like, on Long Island, their ticks are a big issue. And I have this organic tick spray. And he was explaining what he did, and somebody in the group said, oh, you should talk to Cynthia Cuomo. I was like, Cynthia Cuomo, who's that? And it turns out it's the sister of Andrew Cuomo. And so I asked, does anybody know how to get in front of Cynthia Cuomo? And long silence, and then somebody said, yeah, actually, she's a good friend of mine. Boom. He picked up Cynthia Cuomo as a client. So
now if that was Washington, that would be called a lobbyist, and you did it all for free at Stony Brook. So
all for free at Stony Brook.
No, I mean that really is great, and that's the way small businesses should work. Someone knows someone, or it's their sister or relative, and even if it's just something as simple as a website or a phone number that someone can get and move on, that's a terrific story. And those sound like businesses that would be suffering, and yet they turned lemons into lemonade. Exactly. Tom, do you have one that you want to add to that?
I do, yeah. As a fellow who worked with us, his business is a 45-year-old family-owned business that makes boxes for products for people to ship out products. And he's now in the midst of making a transition, what would be really considered to be a pivot of his business, to begin to take in online development of custom designs for boxes. And, he's taken some big steps through the workshop of determining how he wants to develop his business for the long term. So I can't say we have the, turning it into Starbucks just yet, because it takes time to get that done. But he's been very, very happy about the changes that he was able to make. It's something he's been thinking about for a long time, and something about the workshop got him moving on it. He got some very good support and some good tips about how to get it moving. And then I'll just share one little result, because he took it a step further about going out and helping others, because he really felt like this helped him a lot, and he could see we're not making a lot of money out of this. It was just something that he happened to. He got it for free. So he wanted to do something to pay it forward. And he got a friend of his who's a videographer. They went around to 10 restaurants that they know in where they live on the South Shore. And they did free videos for these restaurants and gave them to them and said, hey, put them on your website. Try to draw in some traffic, because we know you're suffering. And, this was such a cool, like a Robin Hood kind of thing, just did it for free, gave it to them and said, good luck, and somehow or other, one of them contacted CBS News in the city and said, hey, this guy just did this. It's really cool. And they made a story out of it. So, it's one of these things that just, you do something kind and it becomes like a cool viral little thing. And,
a good deed led to a great deal of publicity that they couldn't even buy if they wanted to.
Absolutely. So everyone gets a good thing. And of course the restaurants get all of a sudden they get this huge publicity.
That's the story we love. And that's a great one to wrap up on. Gentlemen, I want to thank our guests today, Stefan Doering, the founder and CEO of Shift Group, and Thomas Moebus, an advisor to Shift Group. Gentlemen, thank you.
Pleasure to be with you. Good job.
Please keep up this great work and keep helping Long Islanders and everybody get through this difficult time. I'm Bill Horan. I'm here with Matt Leonard. We thank you for listening to this week's special edition of My Hometown.
We like to get your feedback on My Hometown. Send your comments to WHPC@ncc.edu. Nassau Community College, where success starts and continues. Till next time, this is Bill St. James. And remember, there's no town like your hometown.